Welcome to the Daily Dish with New York Times bestselling author Leanne Ely. Putting vibrancy back into your everyday life and feeding your heart, mind, body, and soul. Join us every day at 1 p.m. Eastern for Motivational Monday, Tuesday's Tip, Wise Woman's Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Food Fight Friday, and of course Q&A, where no question is off limits, and Soulful Saturday. Here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
Hello. It's Tuesday. Who's in the house? Come on in. It's time to get busy. Oh my goodness. I'm just sitting here making my breaking my fast. Here it comes. Hot milk mix to the rescue. That's what I'm talking about. Hi, Mimi. Hi, Marguerite. Good to see you. Everybody asked me what this is. It's hot milk mix. Stuff's amazing, by the way. Come on in. Good to see everyone. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's going to be a fun time. Hi, Joanne. Good to see you. And there's Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Martha's in the house. Good to see you, Martha. Cheers. Here's to Tuesday. Ah, thanks, Amber. I actually did something with my hair. Hi, Helen. There's Jackie. Come on in. Come on in. There's Jenny. We're all here. We're here in the neighborhood. I just had a really great morning. I hope you did too. Hi, Susan. Catherine, good to see you. Come on in. The water's fine. Katy, Texas, Sandy. How about that? There's my girl, Sarah. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. And you know, it all puddles at the bottom. And then what I'll do at the end, when this whole glass is gone, I'll put in a little mineral water. I see you, Jen. Good to see you. Joanne's dirty fasting today. Who else is dirty fasting? I'm not going to be dirty fasting today. I did it all last week. It was a good thing, good setup. But I'll tell you what, I will be back on it next week. Just got to keep mixing it up. Shake the box, baby. Hi, Debbie. Anyway, hello. I can't vouch for anything that Facebook does. They're just, crazy town. So, hi, Beverly. She said she's on her second walk with the grandchildren. Listen, this woman has 19 grandchildren. So you can imagine, that's like walking a classroom out, that's a lot of work right there. I give Beverly my tips to you, Beverly. Good for you. Anyway, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Today is Transformational Tip Tuesday, and I'm going to talk a little bit about limits because I'm reading a really good book right now that's from my friend Jim Quick. And believe it or not, this is Jim's last name, Quick, and he teaches people to expand their minds. He teaches people how to learn quickly, and that is really, honest to God, his last name. And he's a fascinating guy. He knows all the people. As a matter of fact, he was friends with Stan Lee, if you know who he is. Stan Lee was the creator of all the Marvel comic strips. So Jim is one of these guys who's got pictures of himself with everyone, all the live presidents right now, from current to in the past, everybody who's been alive and a few that have deceased, all kinds of actors and actresses and everything. And I've never understood why, but he did. And it's so funny because Jim is he's a very self-effacing, very quiet man, but brilliant. Absolutely 100% brilliant. I highly recommend Limitless if you want a good book to read. I'm going to be talking a little bit about what he talks about as far as being limitless. And that's my word of 2021, by the way, is limitless. I like to pick a word sometimes. In 2016, I had unstoppable, and unstoppable was a good word for me back then. I've kind of given it up, but now I'm back and I'm saying, you know what? I need a word. I need a theme for 2021. Moving right along, I want to make sure that my brain and my mind are set in the ways that they need to be set, because this is the framework for our entire lives. Our foundation is relying on this. We're going to be talking about limits today. We're going to be talking about what they are, what they aren't, and how they impact you, because we all have them. And for a lot of us, it's like, it's like trying to unstring all, detangle the Christmas tree lights, because we have a lot of stuff that's interjected into our lives that sometimes we don't even realize they're there. We'll talk about it. Our quote of the week is really good, and it actually works exactly with what we're talking about today. And it says, whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. And then it says, read that again. Because we need that impact, don't we? We need a little wallop upside the head with a cosmic 2x4 so we can start getting this stuff. When we start getting it, instead of just leaving going, rah, rah, wasn't that great? And then doing nothing about it, going back to sitting on the couch, back to Netflix, back to that glass of wine, back to playing on your phone. I want to spur you to action. I want you to start thinking about 2021. What do you want to see for your life? What do you want to see that's going to be different this time around? That's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. Also, last call on these mugs. They are flying out the door. We've got a new one coming. Right now, they come, you can buy them for $5 if you put in a $100 order. If you get a $200 order, then guess what you get? You get this for free, and we send these out. These are mindful mugs. They teach us to be mindful about what it is that we're doing. It is a setup. It is a good kind of trigger, so that when you go to your meal, you're having this mindful mug before your meal, and you're really thinking, I'm going to be mindful in this meal. I'm going to chew thoroughly. I'm not going to just gulp it down, and it's not a race. I've got to tell myself that all the time. Anyway, this is what the mindful mugs are, and we honor our customers by saying thank you and sending this to them when you put in your big orders, which you do a lot, and I appreciate that. This week, our Inflict Crusher is on sale. It's buy 3, you'll get the 4th one free. Now, we have a new thing, though, that we've done. Jenny's figured out, in her brilliance, she's gone out and figured out all the things, and all you have to do is put 4 in your cart, and we will do the calculation for you. You got that? So don't worry about, before I kept saying, we'll do it for you. Just throw the 4 in there. It will calculate to the 4th one being free. You got that? Good stuff. Good stuff. What else do we need to talk about? Well, last night, we did a how to crush the sprint webinar to set you up so that when we start on Monday, you're blowing it out of the park. You can find that and watch the replay at savingdinner.com/sprint. That's an important part. Also, if you want show notes, we do show notes every single day from the day before. You're going to really enjoy them. You just have to get signed up for our newsletter. That's easy. Go to savingdinner.com and you can do it right there. Plus, we'll send you a free menu, all kinds of stuff, because we're great like that. We do fun things. Anyway, what else do I have to? Oh, we have gift certificates available. So I think this is a great thing, especially if you're trying to figure out, what am I going to get these people on my list? What am I going to get them? Well, I'll tell you what, a gift certificate to Saving Dinner will get you all kinds of things, from supplements to dinner answers, whatever. Just go check it out. And plus, our girl Amber has designed them, and they're darling. You can print them out, put them in a card, and be proud of them. They're not just some kind of little whatever. You'll really enjoy that. So I really like that. Isn't that so fun? I love stuff like that. What else do I have to tell you? Friday, don't forget, is our Q&A. So send in your questions to support@savingdinner.com. Question for Leanne on Friday. If it's about nutrition, cooking, whatever, I will help you out. Hand to God. I do this all the time, and it's fun. All right. So should we get down to business? Do we have everything? Did I check all the boxes? We've got Christmas dinner stuff coming and all kinds of stuff. I'll tell you all about it when it's ready. It's not quite ready yet, but we will be close. Yes, Amber is talented, and so is our Jenny. We've got two very talented women on our staff, and we are more than thankful, believe me. All right, so cheers. Let's get down to business, and let's become limitless. Okay, first of all, let's look at what the definition of limit is, right? Because, here's the thing. We all have, limits. We can't, not all of us can do the splits. Some of us can, but not all of us can. Not everyone can, see as far as the other person. We all have these limits that come with our bodies. It's part of our package. But you know what? There's a lot of limits that are self-imposed, that are put on you by other people. There are a lot of limits in your life that don't serve at all. Not one little itty-bitty tiny bit. As a matter of fact, a limit means it's a point or a level beyond a restriction on the size or the amount of something. Now, we like limits when we're driving, don't we? Nobody wants to be on the Autobahn 24/7. You don't want to just get on there and just whatever you want to do. We appreciate the limits that are on the road. Those are speed limits, by the way, to keep us safe. But too often we have too many speed limits on our lives with this idea to keep us safe, but it keeps us restricted and it keeps us away from the life that we want to live. And we talked about this yesterday quite a bit. We've talked about our limiting beliefs. We've been talking about it for a while. And I want to set you up for taking this idea that the only thing that is limiting us is our belief in ourselves, so that next week when you go to do the sprint, you're coming up with some new ammo so that you can knock down all those disempowering beliefs, knock down all the stuff that no longer serves you, and really go after it and crush your goals for the week. 7 days is a small time, but 7 days can be a snapshot of the life that you want to lead if you decide it is so. That's the cool thing about this whole thing. And one of the things in this book, and this is, again, I'm recommending this book highly if you want to get into it, good dig and read. One of the things that you can look at is what lies represent, what lies limits can be. And as a matter of fact, Jim calls them limited idea entertained. That's what he's using as an acronym for lie. Limited idea entertained. And that's exactly what we do. We entertain all these crazy lies that aren't true about our lives. Maybe they were true when you were 5. Maybe it was true in the family you were living in at the time. Maybe it was true when you were in high school or in your 20s or whatever. But have you noticed that we have a tendency to take these beliefs with us as outdated, as expired, as crazy, as incongruent as they can possibly be? Because you know why we do this? We never, ever, ever look at this belief and say, you know what? This doesn't belong here anymore. This is crazy town. This needs to go. And so when we're living within the limits that someone else puts on our lives, we're not living our own life. We're not living our own life. We're living our lives based on everybody else's expectations and their limits, their belief systems, not our own. And here's where it gets really insane. Are you ready? Buckle up on this one. We do this based on the framework of our lives, how we've led them and where we've come from. I once time had, and I've taught, it's really entertaining, and then maybe that's the wrong word, when as a health coach and having, for thousands of people come through my Zoom or in person or whatever, as I'm helping them with their health goals and what have you, I've heard a lot of stuff based on a faulty belief system that was from the longest, from years and years and years ago, for someone that it never even occurred to them that it was time to flip their belief system. And I've got a couple of things that I'm going to share with you on that, and a couple of things that I have seen along the way. And just recently, I met with a woman who I had to help flip her belief system so she could start living the life that she wants to live. What we're talking about here, and by the way, this is the Daily Dish Show where we're putting vibrancy back into your life, heart, mind, and body and soul, because that is who you are, a whole woman. And that's what we talk about on these shows, because if we can get past a lot of this stuff that we're been held back with for so long, we can start really living the life. I mean, no holds barred, limitless, like being on the Autobahn, for example, being on the Autobahn. So let's talk about all this, because people like to say, you know, and you know this, we've talked about this before too, that people love to inflict their beliefs upon you, especially when you're trying something new. If you're intermittent fasting, you're saying, no, I'm intermittent fasting, I'm not going to have breakfast. Oh, well, you know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And they start inflicting their nutritional belief system on you based on whatever, maybe something they read on the internet or saw on Facebook or heard, not based on science. They haven't done that work. They're not going to do the digging, but based on something else. And they like to inflict. They like to make sure that you know how they feel about your decision. Have you ever noticed how insane that is? Don't you want to just tell these people to button their lips, for heaven's sakes? Like, who are you to see, run my life? I am not doing this by, I'm not pulling together people for their opinions. This isn't a poll. This is my life, y'all. Have you ever wanted to say that? Because it's not just people around you. It's your family. It's your friends. It's all these well-meaning people that have a lot to say about how it is that you should live your life and what your limits should be. And it's just patently untrue. It is something that needs to be dismissed. And you can say, as sweetly as you want to, well, bless your heart for having an opinion about my life, or not. Or you can give them a stink eye. I don't care, whatever it is that you do. But I want you to reclaim this territory back. I want you to come back to this whole place, back to your core value of who you are. I want you to come back to that and say, you know what? No, that doesn't feel good. Because what happens is this, because I've lived it and I understand it. We come to this place where we have this core conflict. We're listening to this and thinking, oh, well, maybe I should be listening to that. And oh my gosh, they've got this opinion over here. And suddenly, you're living your life by consensus. Your life, everybody's got input except you. Because you haven't put a line in the sand and created your own beliefs that are hardcore. That's your thing. And you need to dismiss these people and tell them thank you very much. But no, it's time for me to go limitless. It's time for me to dump the beliefs that no longer serve me. And it's also time for me to shut your little mouths, because you do not have a say-so in my life. I'm saying this on repeat because I want to make sure that you understand that when people start to express their opinion, you have the right to push it all back and to say to them, you know what? Cool. But I'm actually working with a nutritionist. This is science-based. And if you want to, you can go to PubMed and do it. And let me just say one more thing. Do not do their research for them. Just tell them what I am doing is based on the latest scientific research that's out there. If you'd like to do the same research, please go into this place and go to PubMed and you can dig out the research for yourself. Shut them up, because you have a life to lead based on your beliefs and not based on the peanut gallery's consensus. Amen? Let's pinky up on that one, because honestly, I am really tired of this stuff because I have seen it over and over and over again. Shampoo, rinse, repeat, and it's not the good kind either. I want to get you to the place of understanding that your power is within, your power is up there, and when you are connected, heart, mind, and body and soul, you are the whole woman going after your own life relentlessly. And you can do it without the superimposed limits that are put there by other people and by you and by your life and by your past. We don't have to do that anymore. When we make this decision, we don't have to do it anymore. So here's the thing, we have to just start asking our questions. Whose life is this anyway? Is it mine? Do I get to run this? Who's living in this body? That's number one. And then number two, we also need to understand that we are very much like elephants in the circus. You know, elephants in the circus, you see these elephants, they have these little tiny chains to a little stump. Well, do you know what happened with them? They could take that out anytime. They could just move their foot and say, to heck with this, and stampede and get out of the whole circus and tell everybody where to go. You know, I'm going back to the jungle. I'm done with y'all. But they were conditioned from life, from when they were baby elephants, with this same thing around their ankle and that same chain, that they can't do anything about it, because that baby elephant tried and tried and tried and tried, got nowhere. So as they grew up, they took that limitation on and believe that that chain has them, even though it really doesn't. That's what I'm talking about right here, because that chain doesn't have you any more than that chain has that elephant that grew up with it. You can at any time break the chain. And for some of us, growing up with these limiting beliefs, you know, I had a woman, I'm serious, that I had to talk to, who she grew up in a cult. She grew up in a cult, and the things that she was taught and the things that happened there, wow, mind-blowing. And she had a lot of work to do on these limiting beliefs that were put on her, just like that baby elephant. And when she made that decision to bust through, man, did she bust through. And she put it all behind. Yeah, stampeding out of the circus, like Sarah said. Exactly. This is a circus. It is a circus when you allow people to give you their opinions about what it is that you should and should not be doing in your life. That is a circus. That is a peanut gallery. These people are not invited in. And if you have invited them in, if you've been allowing people to give you all of their advice and notions, it's time for you to say, you know, in the past, that was okay. It is no longer okay. I need you to keep your opinion to yourself. And you know what? Here's even trade. I'm not going to give you my opinion about your life either. This is how you get to run. This is how you get to bust through and leave the circus behind. And by the way, what do you see at circuses? You see carousels of crazy. You know, and don't get me started, this sidebar, circuses are just cruel and horrible anyway to animals and what they do to them. Should not be a thing. For our entertainment, that's disgusting. But that, like I said, sidebar. But here we are, and we're talking about this. We need to be women in control of our own lives. And that is understanding that when we make a decision that we are limitless, then guess what? We are. Now, there's always going to be somebody who say, well, what about this? Or what about that? Well, come on. You know, we all have, you know, we can't just say, hey, you know, I now have an extra arm, or hey, you know, my IQ has just shot up to 175. This is not the case. What I'm talking about is the stuff in our everyday life where we think we can't, we shouldn't, you know, it's for everybody else, it's not for us. That is patently not true. The only thing that I can say is that these are limited ideas entertained. They're lies. To be limitless is to believe limitless, and to act limitless, and to take a look at your life and say, it is a blank canvas. I get to design it myself. I get to be the creator. So I've told you about this before, that, you know, we all have belief systems, but we all have the ability to leave this belief behind and pick and choose. It is a buffet, baby. Your belief system is a buffet. What are you going to choose to believe? Are you going to live the lies, or are you going to live the things that you know in your heart and your soul and your gut to be true? Even if it causes you to be, you know, just a little worried, and your amygdala is going, no, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. You know? But you can when you decide to. Stan Lee and Jim Quick were having a conversation in the car. I love this. And he said, Stan Lee said to Jim, they were talking about who their favorite characters were, and Stan Lee's was Iron Man, and Jim's was Spider-Man. And he said, well, who's your, you know, when they were talking about this, and then Stan Lee says, with great power comes great responsibility. And then Jim flipped it and said, with great responsibility comes great power. When we dwell on those two statements, I love the way Jim put it, because when that responsibility is on you, your options change. Now, I'll give you an example. With me owning a business, I have a great responsibility. It's not just for me, it's for the people who work here as well. It's not just for me, it's for my vendors. It's not just for me, it's for the people we serve. And everybody is on board with this. We are this tiny little microcosm of people working our buns off, doing the best that we can because we have a belief in our system that we are limitless. We have a belief that we can create and help you to create the vibrancy that you want so much in your lives, because we're doing it ourselves as well. And when that kind of thing happens, you know, the rising tide lifts all boats, you know, all of that stuff, right? But when that happens, belief systems change out. It puts you in the place of power and control. It puts you in the place of understanding that your potential is just right there, right within grasp. You are no longer held back by this limited belief system. So what is your alignment assignment then? Let's get into the alignment assignment, because this is the stuff that's going to make this stuff happen. And the first thing is you got to reframe it and you got to rename it, right? When you find things in your lives, and if you dare to examine, you will, things that don't fit anymore, then you say, like, I'll give you an example. I had a woman tell me, "Oh, I'm too fat to, exercise." And I said, "No, you're not." And listen, she had some weight to lose. It's going to take her a good 2 years. She had a lot of weight to lose. It's going to take her a while, but that time's going to go by anyway. Why not be looking at yourself as limitless and going, I can't do this and I can't do that. And she had knee issues and all this. And I said, okay, YouTube, chair exercises, do them. Just because there is a limitation doesn't mean that the limitation puts you out of the scope of being able to do something. It just means you do it differently. You're differently abled, but nobody is so disabled that they can't do something. Marlo always says, throw a lick at a snake. Amen. Throw a lick at a snake. Get it done. Do something. So one of the things that I love, and this is one of the things that she said when we were having our session, and she says, just because I can't do squats doesn't mean I can't do, upper body strength things. And she was talking about using, this was the follow-up, and she was talking about using her hand weights and doing shoulder presses and doing all these different things that she was doing. I was so proud of her. Just because you can't do the one thing doesn't mean that you can't do all the things, right? It just means that you have slight limitations. So what? The fact is that if you're thinking limitless, you will get limitless back in return, even with the fact that you can't do squats. I thought that was so cool. And then number 2 is you need to start operating from just the facts. Do you remember Dragnet? Anybody old enough to remember just the facts, ma'am? That's what we need. We don't need a bunch of emoting to go along with it. We don't need a bunch of over the top, like, oh, it's so hard and this, that, and the other thing. That, if we're spending our energy on that, we're not getting to the place of what it is that we actually want. So we operate off of past experiences and make declarative statements that I can't, I won't, because of X. I had an experience, and I'm just going to tell you about it really quick, that I was doing a lot of speaking. And I was constantly on an airplane, constantly going all over the place. It was just insanity. Well, then I got really sick. I had this severe sinus infection. And I had these 2 back-to-back events. And I've probably told you about this, but the first one was the sinus infection was so bad, and I was taking all of this medication. And this is when I was in the midst of rosacea, so I had 7,000 pounds of makeup all over my face. And I got up onto that stage, and I remember walking up onto the stage. I remember the leather boots I was wearing. I remember all of it. And that's all I remember. And I just remember going through and speaking and just feeling like I couldn't even feel my legs beneath me. This was this new medication that I was on that the doctor had given me for this sinus infection. And I was this close to almost hallucinating. There were like stars in the sky around me. And if I turned my head too fast, it was going ba 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 ba. So that was, and it was the worst most lukewarm speech I'd ever given. I had never had such a disaster. The next week, I had to go to another place. So this was up in, this was in Texas, and then I had to fly to Florida, and I was speaking at this entrepreneurial women's thing. I got food sickness, food poisoning the night before, and the next day, I couldn't speak. I was on to speak at 9 o'clock, and I called at 7 o'clock in the morning from the bathroom floor where I'd spent the night because I was so sick, and said I can't go on. So they had to get somebody else. I came back from this thing, and basically I was from here to there and just at home for a minute to change clothes and all of that. And I said, I can't be a public speaker anymore. I'm terrible. I can't do this. It makes me sick. I can't do it. I don't have what it takes. And I believed that for years and turned down a lot of speaking engagements. But I don't believe that about myself anymore. That was limited due to two very unfortunate events back to back. But does that mean that that's who I was? Is that who I should identify as because of these two experiences? Absolutely not. And I tell you this because I know you've done this yourself. Well, it just didn't work out, so therefore, no. Two experiences that happened. What'd you learn from them? You know what I learned from them? One, I'm going to take my blender with me. I have a mobile blender. It's $15 on it. Little travel blender that I found on Amazon. Take that with me. Watch it with the food at the hotel and what have you. This is a highfalutin hotel, believe me. This is a really nice place that they put me up in. Got sick. And number two, and that is that if you get sick, do not try a new medication. Don't take something, especially if you're sensitive like me, that's going to cause this kind of a problem. That's where I fell apart. And that's, that just built this fake belief system that I couldn't do something based on how I was sick and not that I couldn't deliver the goods. So don't do that to yourself. And number three is that you want to be creating a new belief system based on your discovery. What do you see about yourself? Create a belief system that is about that. So when you say that, for example, a bad experience, I came back and now created a new belief system that says, I am fine, I'm capable, I'm able, and I can put it away like nobody's business, and I can speak. I do it every day, I'm not scared of it. It doesn't intimidate me. I can do this. So what does that tell me? Those were two experiences that just happened back to back, and I took it on to mean something that just wasn't true. A lie. Right? What is a lie again? Limited idea entertained. That was completely wrong. Number 4 is that you need to create a declaration of independence from limiting beliefs. The Declaration of Independence is a manifesto. We, the people. Well, I want you to do something for yourself. I am, and then whatever it is, I am stronger than I think. I am even stronger than I know. I am stronger and I can follow through. I can do this. Just because I've had problems in the past does not mean that that's going to dictate the future. Use your journal for this and declare yourself the strong, independent woman that you are. Because you are, if you declare that you are limitless if you decide you are. Wayne Dyer said there is one grand lie, that we are limited. The only limits we have are the limits that we believe. So I'm asking you, are you ready to declare your independence from this limiting beliefs? Are you ready to strike out and to take everything that you've got and put it out there and become the woman that you are meant to be? You are meant to be vibrant. You are meant to be living here on purpose. You are meant to be having an impact on all the people around you. It's time for you to stand up and stand into your power. You've got it. All you have to do is declare it and start operating from that belief system, because that's the one that's going to take you all the way. That's the one that's going to take you to the place that you want to go. that's the one that's going to change the entire trajectory of your life. Don't just be disgusted or frustrated or sad or all of that. Put your energy, put your focus on the things that are going to solve this problem and are going to dismiss the disempowering beliefs that don't work anymore in your life and that are going to start building the new ones that will. Remember what Wayne said. There is one grand lie, that we are limited. The only limits we have are the limits we believe. And I'm going to tell you right now, I believe in you. I show up every single day because I believe in you. You have been put here by God on purpose for such a time as this. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? I can't wait. And I can't wait for you to join me next week with the sprint. I can't wait to see what 2021 is going to look like. And wait till you see what we have coming next right after the sprint. All new, all cool, and wow, it's going to take you to that next level. Can't wait to share it with you. Peace be with you. And if this had any kind of impact on you, do share it. I appreciate it. Peace.
Thanks for watching. You can find us on YouTube on the Saving Dinner channel or on the Saving Dinner Facebook page. Check back daily for new episodes, Monday to Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you missed the live show, you can watch the replay. Until next time, pinkies up.